Thank you, Ted, for that report. Now I'd like to introduce and bring to the podium our General Manager, Greg Wiliams, who will now give his report. Greg?
Good morning. I know you've been sitting for a while. Let's see if we can get through this. Thank you for attending your annual meeting. 72 years as a cooperative. That's pretty phenomenal, I think. 72 years as a co-op. Now, as I go through my report today, you're going to see on the screens behind me several pictures that will help hopefully illustrate some of the things that I'm going to be talking about this morning. I first want to add my welcome to our guests from TVA, TECA, and our auditors, Pew & Company. Thank you for coming today. I also want to express my deepest appreciation to the Board of Directors. They provide an excellent leadership and work very hard to represent your interest for the co-op. They spend many hours each month bringing oversight to our cooperative. And to our employees, and many of them are in the room, thank you for your continued dedication and commitment to the cooperative. We cannot do this without you. You not only take care of the day-to-day responsibilities like today, but you respond during those times when we get hit with storms and outages. You know what it means to get the lights back on and provide service to our members. And finally, thank you, our members. We serve almost 45,000 meters in parts of 4 different counties, and you see the area that we serve, our service area there. And I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to attend your annual meeting. Now, in this report, I have the responsibility of kind of giving you a state of the cooperative overview and some of the significant events and issues that we are facing and will face in the future. Probably the most important item any of us wants to hear about is how are we doing financially. You've already heard from Ted Holtz from Pew & Company. We got a clean audit report, which is good. No adjustments, no compliance issues. I credit all of that to our Vice President of Administration, Dale Lawson, and his staff for the excellent oversight and work that they do in maintaining our accounting principles. Bottom line, your cooperative remains financially strong and sound. That's what we want to hear. Now let's highlight just a couple of things from our financial statement. First, the value of the electric system. We call it the electric plant. It grew by $8.8 million this past year. Now that's a little less than last year at $10 million. That was intentional. We are slowing down some of our system improvement projects, pushing them out to later years because we're not growing in members and electric load like we had planned or predicted. Second, Ted also mentioned our net income for the year was up $3.64 million compared to $2.75 million in the previous fiscal year. Now most of this, as he mentioned, can be attributed to managing and controlling our expenses and also lower power costs from TVA. You remember last winter, very, very mild. We didn't have those super high peak demand times last winter, causing our wholesale power bill to escalate. Now remember, the net income is not a profit, but it's revenue above expenses. All of those dollars get reinvested right back into the power system, upgrading power lines, upgrading our substations. Now the board did choose this past year to reserve a portion of those revenues for unusual peak demand periods in the future. And I guarantee you, we will have them. We are going to have another cold winter. With the wholesale rate change in April of 2011, we, the distributor, Appalachian Electric Cooperative, now bear the risk for those times when we have a very high peak demand and very low kilowatt-hour sales. About 30% of our wholesale power payment to TVA each month is for the highest 1 hour demand created by you and me, the members. This is when all of us are using the most electricity at the same time. Now to illustrate this point, take a look at a typical 24-hour load curve. It's a graphic representation of electrical use by our members. In blue, is a typical winter load curve, and the red one is a typical summer load curve. If this were the peak day of the month, the highest point of the curve represents our highest 1 hour demand for the month. This is when everyone is using, obviously, the most electricity. Usually in the winter, that's between 6 and 7 or 7 to 8 a.m. in the morning. And in the summer, that's between 5 and 6 p.m. in the afternoon. Now, through various measures, the cooperative is taking steps each month to reduce that peak demand, trying to reduce that demand bill, which in turn helps keep rates low. A natural question to ask is, where did we spend that $8.8 million in the electric system? Let's look at some of the major construction projects the cooperative completed this year or that we're working on. The first and the most significant, at a cost of $3.9 million, which represents 44% of the $8.8 million, is the rebuilding of our Jefferson City substation. This project took almost 2 years to plan, engineer, and complete. The original station was built by TVA in 1953. The cooperative purchased it in 1980 under a lease purchase agreement, and now almost 60 years later, the cooperative has a brand new, expanded, larger capacity, modern substation to serve the 6,500 meters connected to it. It was officially energized back in February of this year, and if you go up on the hill above Jefferson City, the old station is completely gone, and all you'll see, hopefully, is grass right now. The second major construction project at about $2 million was our efforts to upgrade power lines. We do this every year. Examples of some of the larger projects you see on the screen: project on Nancy's Ferry Road, Highway 92 in Granger County, Valley Home Road near White Pine. All in all, a total, the cooperative rebuilt, reconstructed, upgraded 16.3 miles of distribution line this past year, representing an investment of $2.1 million. The remaining major capital improvement project at about $2 million this year is our continuing effort to deploy and upgrade to our new advanced metering system. We've been working on this a while, since 2006, steadily replacing and upgrading older meters to electronic meters. This project is 90% complete. Now, last year when I stood here, we were at 60% complete, so we've made a lot of progress in the past year. Plans are to be fully deployed by the end of this year or shortly thereafter. Now, these new meters provide a great deal of information, power quality information, such as when an outage occurs, the number of blinks, like when your lights go off and on, and even the voltage level at your meter base, which is very important for our operations. Additionally, we receive a kilowatt hour reading each hour in order to render billing. Now, there is a vast amount of information which can be used by us to better serve you, our members. But also, in the future, that information will allow you, our members, to better manage your own energy use. I mentioned last year at this time how we have seen a major slowdown in member growth. You see it every day, we do too. No more new homes or subdivisions, empty houses, and very few new businesses are opening. I was really hoping that we could break the 45,000 meter mark, and we did. We just came slightly under that. As of August 31st, the cooperative served 44,974 accounts. Now, the number you see on your screen was back in June, so we gained a little bit. That's 124 more than we served a year ago. Okay? Now, here's the startling statistic. Since 2008, 4 years, the cooperative has only grown by 224 new electric services. 224 in 4 years. We used to grow at 800 to 1,000 a year, and now we've only grown by 224 in 4 years. Obviously, we're all affected by the slowdown in the economy, and so is your cooperative. We are one of the fortunate few, though, that still have some positive growth. Now, many co-ops across this country are seeing negative growth. They're losing customers each and every day. Now, as you can see from the chart, your cooperative has seen positive growth all the way back since 1940 when we started as a co-op. And you see that chart growing each and every year. We haven't had to face this condition ever before. We've never flatlined like this before. We have historically seen very steady growth, which has helped offset inflationary cost increases. Now, what do I mean? As we grow in membership, it helps to spread cost out over a greater number of members, helping to keep rates as low as possible. But because we're not growing, we find ourselves having to manage differently today. Now, if the most important reason you came today was to win a credit on your electric bill, which is a great reason, I would dare say the second most important reason you might have come out today was to find out about your electric rates. Now, you've already heard from Michael Scow from TVA, our power supplier. They're holding rates steady for another year. That is great news. Likewise, your cooperative does not plan a rate increase until next year also. We are doing everything that we can do to hold our retail rates firm until April of 2013. Now, why April? This would be a full 2 years since the last retail rate increase by your cooperative. We raised retail rates April of 2011 by 1.82%. And we've been operating on that very small increase since then, and we intend to stretch it until April of next year. On average, we have kept retail rate increases for the cooperative to about 1% per year. Now, there's been rate increases. Those come from TVA because of our power costs, but the piece that your cooperative operates on has been held to right at 1% per year. Presently, based on our financial forecast, we are anticipating about a 2.5% increase will be required next April. However, there are a lot of unknowns yet, and we have a lot of work to do between now and then. We need to examine expenses, and we need to re-examine our financial forecast. I think it's important to know that we took some major steps last year to cut expenses and push off a possible rate increase. Those steps include what you see on the screen. We changed healthcare provider, we changed our retirement program, and we took advantage of those low interest rates and we refinanced some debt. There was a lot of other cost-saving steps made to help lower expenses, again, to push off that rate increase. And I think it's also important to put into perspective the cost of electricity and how it compares to other items you and I purchase. Michael Scow made mention of this. In your bag, in your gift bag today, is this piece of paper. And it provides a good comparison of the historical increase of electricity prices compared to things such as a loaf of bread and a pound of cheese. What is important to realize is that we use much more electricity today than we did 40 to 50 years ago. Take a look at that. I think it's really enlightening to see that information. So what do we do with that? We must be more efficient in the way we use electricity. Now, there's nothing more important to you and me than to keep that monthly electric bill under control and keep it as low as possible. So let's talk about some ways in which your cooperative is doing just that for our members. At a cost of just $50, you can have an in-home energy evaluation by a certified evaluator. After they go through your home and they examine it, they'll provide you a report outlining potential energy efficiency changes that you could make along with the cash incentives that you could receive to make those changes, up to $500. For example, you may need to add insulation in your attic, or you may repair your ductwork. If you make any of the suggested changes, you are refunded the original $50 plus whatever cash incentive you are eligible for. Now, since May of 2009, there have been 804 cooperative members who have taken advantage of that program, and we have paid out over $312,000 in incentives for efficiency improvements. If you're interested, please contact our Member Services Department to sign up for this very important program. Now, this is not just for residential, but we're also working with our commercial and industrial customers. We've had 26 businesses and industries participate in the TVA's Energy Right Solutions program. They are scheduled to receive in excess of $209,000 in incentives for energy efficiency projects that they will or have completed. A good example, over in Granger County, a company called Film Tech. They are investing or have invested almost $20,000 in new energy efficiency lighting. That will save them approximately $7,600 annually on their electric bill. Their incentive to help offset that original cost was over $11,000, almost virtually cutting in half their initial investment. Now, another important project that the Cooperative completed this year was providing a new statement bill to our members. I know it was difficult, but gone are the old postcards, which the co-op used for decades. This project took well over a year to develop and work out the details. Now, the new bill format, though, helps us to begin providing you, our members, with more information about your electric use and history. It gives us space to send information and highlight new programs. Eventually, we hope to provide even more detail and information to help you, our members, better manage your electric bill. Now, for those members who are interested in green energy, your cooperative participates in TVA's Green Power Providers Program. When recent applicants complete their systems, we will have a total of 16 solar photovoltaic generating systems connected to the electric system for a total of 274 kW. That's 274,000 watts of generating capacity. They range from very small solar arrays on residential homes to large systems on commercial businesses. They're generating kilowatt hours through sunlight each and every day, each and every hour of the day. And as a result, they get a credit on their electric bill. Now, all of those are just a few examples of ways that we are continuing to work to keep rates as affordable as possible without sacrificing safety and reliability. We know that's important to you and it's important to us. Now, let me shift gears just a little and share with you about what your board and management has spent a great deal of time completing this year. It's called a strategic plan. And inside your gift bag is a small brochure, looks like this, outlining the many parts of what the strategic plan is all about. You'll notice on the screen it says a roadmap for the future. And you'll also notice that there's a compass. Just like a compass points in a direction, north, a strategic plan represents direction for the cooperative. It is a focus and ultimately sets goals for the future. It's very important for any company, any size, to spend time visioning and seeking a direction. The board has done just that this past year, spending many hours looking at our strengths, looking at our weaknesses, looking at opportunities. Now, throughout this process, they examined our mission statement. Is it relevant? They looked at our vision statement, and they developed a brand new value statement. As you came in this morning, those were hanging on display in the lobby. These three, mission, vision, values, they represent our guiding principles. They say who we are and what we do. They describe what we aspire to. They capture the things that we care about and that we believe in. They're important to the board, they're important to me, and they're important to every employee. Now, from the work of the board came 4 strategic goals, 4 defined areas the board felt we needed to focus our efforts and resources toward over the next 2 to 3 years. And those are described in detail in your brochure. But just briefly, the first one, plant reliability. This is the core of what we do every day. The goal essentially defines that we meet the demand and energy needs of you, our members, by investing in the electric system, maintaining safety and reliability. Number 2, rates and financial condition. This goal means we work very hard to maintain financial health and strength. It means managing rates. It means taking advantage of low-cost financing. It means that we will be researching and developing new optional retail rates to encourage off-peak use of electricity. You remember the load curves that we talked about earlier? The time of day matters when it comes to energy use, and it will matter even more in the future. Third area, member services. This goal is directed 100% at our members. The focus of this goal is to help our members learn more about how to better manage their electric use by providing education, by providing programs to promote energy efficiency. We also want to improve and grow our communications to our members, which means offering connections through such things as social media like Facebook and Twitter. That's something we need to get into. And expanding our website services. Our final goal is focused on our employees, the men and women who turn the nuts and bolts of this organization each and every day. I greatly appreciate their knowledge, their skills, their dedication, and their commitment to the cooperative. In setting apart 1/4 of the strategic plan on the employees, the board of directors very intentionally recognized the importance and strength of the co-op. It lies within our employees. This goal focuses on providing them with the continuing education, the training, the tools, the equipment that they need to set out the goals and objectives of the plan. Now from there, my job and the job of the management team was to develop action items which supported these goals and if implemented would push us toward those goals. In all, we had 22 action items which when individually researched and developed would be presented back to the board for final approval. A couple of examples. In support of plant reliability, the development of our construction work plan. This is a very comprehensive engineering study of our electric system and is the basis for any future loan funds that we may need. Second example, under member services, making plans and preparations for our 75th anniversary. That will come about in 2015. Believe it or not, we need to plan now, begin planning now for that historic event in the life of our co-op. Now, there's a lot of other action plans with very detailed objectives, from strengthening our power system, enhancing our cybersecurity, to evaluating new programs to offer our members. From vision to goals to action items to a strategic plan. As I shared with the employees just a few weeks ago, it's now time to implement the plan. It's time to get busy. Our compass has been set. The direction has been given. It's time to get the job done. Now, as I close, let me share with you an interesting result of our strategic plan that we discovered after the fact. Our communications coordinator took the thousands of words that fill the strategic plan document and put them into a software program that determines how many times a word is used and then displays those words in a different size based on the frequency of their use. Now, looking at the result, what word do you see was used the most? Members. That's right, members. This cooperative, this strategic plan, we as employees, the board of directors, are dedicated to serving our members. It's why we exist. It's why we go to work every day. I greatly appreciate you for attending your annual meeting and for the opportunity to provide you this report today. Now, I ended today talking about members, okay, consumer owners of the cooperative. Take a look at this video produced by our National Association, National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. I think it captures best the essence of what cooperative membership means. We have a long history together, 72 years together. And we have many more years ahead of us. Thank you very much.